Hi there. Out and about. Yes, out and about. Landscape of Lower Saxony here. That's what it looks like here. That's typical landscape. Whole landscape here, so a whole side. That was moor landscape. Bog. Just mud. In the old days. So there's a special side here. There was really a fight going on here. Battle for life and death. So, but I'm going to talk about this. I also brought some tobacco, of course. So, well, I know some of you are just interested in tobacco. And that's all right. So I'm going to start with tobacco. And if you're not interested in the history, that's all right with me. So just cut it. So I'm going to start with tobacco. So HU tobacco. Well, there's several videos on the channel about HU tobaccoes. Several tobaccos I already showed you. And I don't want to talk about the HU thing in general. I did this in several videos, so I think most of you already know. But there were two or several new tobaccos coming up I think in spring. This year's spring, so spring 2018, in Lomar. So Lomar, if you don't know Lomar, that's a village, and Lomar is really a meetup point for German pipe presenters, pipe makers, all the folks interested in pipe. So they meet up in Lomar once a year normally, and yeah, that's the reason why many pipe companies, not companies, but pipe makers, but also tobacco companies, they like to show their new stuff in Lomar. So, and I think that was the case here with those all this HU back here. I want to show you, and the back is, oh, that's the wrong one. I want to show you this later. So the back is dark wood scenery. I thought that might fit here in the landscape. Dark wood scenery. So, as always, I tell you what they say about the tobacco. And I'm pretty sure the text on the back side of the tin, that is done by Hans Wiedemann. So Hans Wiedemann, as you know, is the master blender of HU tobacco. And he really, I don't want to say he's a wizard, but he's pretty good. Well, that's my opinion. So I think he's pretty good. So I'll tell you what he said about the tobacco. So dark wood scenery. Do aromatics always have to be overly sweet and fruity? That's a question we all will like to put on. I don't think so. No, he doesn't think so. And that's why I took a new path with dark wood scenery. The medium strength tobacco base consists of Virginias, Turkish Orientals, some black Cavendish, and a nice bold Burley. Alright, I'm going to talk about this. So the Burley, I think the whole tobacco is medium range when it comes to the nicotine. But the Burley is pretty nice. So flavored, and that's the important part, with licorice, cloves. So cloves, dianthus. That's a special kind of cloves. Black pepper, sandalwood, and a hint of fruit component. So, and he says, yeah, a combination of aromas that reminds of the old blends. I'm not so sure. But is modernly interpreted with the dark wood scenery. Yeah, whatsoever. He spoils with the spicy but also sweet aroma from the first to the last puff. Yeah, we like to hear that. We all know that first to last puff, that is nearly impossible. Well, let's say the tobacco keeps its flavor pretty good. Alright, so what is special about this tobacco? If you open that up, you show you the tobacco. Of course I do. So, well, there's nothing really fancy about this. Let's see. So yeah, it looks pretty nice, but the moment you open that tin and you have a whiff of that, you know what this is about. And this is hard to describe, but it's just fantastic. So it's clove, I think, mainly, and anise or licorice, and that's the main combination here. So there's sandalwood, maybe a hint, but this is actually like gingerbread or something. This is something you expect from the kitchen or from the bakery. Let's say in winter times, bakery goods of winter times. That is what you smell, and in a good way. There is nothing chemical here. There is nothing really disturbing. So for me, if you like Christmas cookies, or if you like, I don't know, winter bakery goods, let's say that. If you like that, there's nothing disturbing here, because yeah, it really smells like they use natural components to do that. I have no idea what they use, but whatever, I don't really care, but it really smells like that. So good. So pretty much the same if you light it up. Tobacco, by the way, comes rather dry. So look at that. This tin is open fresh. So I'll show you something. If you pull it out, so you see it doesn't stick together. So it's rather dry than moist, let's say that. But it's not too dry. It's a good sign. It's a good sign. Yeah, why is that? So as you know, many companies, they like to use water, I don't know, to increase weight perhaps, but mainly to get the sharp notes done. So just to make it a bit rounder, so to cut off the edges sometimes. And if this tobacco doesn't need it, that's a good sign of quality. So nothing complicated to pack, nothing complicated to light up, doesn't produce a lot of moist. So what about the taste? So the taste is really interesting. So this is gingerbread like, it's cloves, it's anise, a bit licorice, but you can still feel the natural components. So even the oriental is detectable in the bag. So you have to watch out a little bit for this. So it's an aromatic, but it's really decent aromatic. So this is something you could go with in the winter time. For myself, that wouldn't be a tobacco for the summer, let's say, but in those times, in the winter time, really nice. So, is there something we could complain about? Well, there's nothing in the world where you couldn't complain about. And this is some funny aftertaste. So if you're done with the pipe, so at least for me, tastes a little bit like you had some gingerbread. So, well, you could always say that's not a bad thing. So, but for me, it is a little bit like that. I think that's the cloves. So, or maybe the anise. So that's just a little bit. So anyway, good tobacco. Tell you about the price. What's the price? €10, 60 cents. So it's decent. That's okay. That's all right. It's not too much, I think. It's done by Kohlhauser, by the way. So the master blender is Hans Wiedemann. He's the blender, and it's produced by Kohlhauser. I'm pretty sure distributed by Kohlhauser too. So, well, you know, these days there seems to be nothing that Kohlhauser doesn't do. So, Alright, and if you place an order for this HU tobacco, which I recommend if you're into this kind of tobacco, if you don't like the winter bakery goods, if you don't like aromatics at all, just stay away from that. But if you watch out for decent aromatic during the winter time, so that could be worth a shot. So, and if you do that, if you place an order, just order a second one. I just show you that. I don't want to speak about this and so particularly, but this is American Bazaar, and I call this some kind of sister tobacco. Alright, I know those are different tobaccos and there are differences between those tobaccos and so on, but I call this a sister tobacco because, yeah, well, it's different, but it lives in the same alley, let's say that. So it's all about spices, all about different spices you find on a American Bazaar. So, and that even sounds pretty close to the Darkwood Scenery. And yeah, if you open the tins, you will know what I mean. So if you like one of those tobaccos, pretty sure you'll also appreciate the other one. So if you place an order, that could be an idea. So to just take both tobaccos. All right, that's about tobacco. Talking about the scenery. So I'm 70 kilometers northeast of Bremen. But this place was some kind of claimed by the Bishop of Bremen those days. So, you know, Bremen is a city and a state, and was a city and a state of influence during the old days, especially in the Middle Ages. On this side, there was a serious thing going on, and that was 707 years ago. Pretty exact. Because the story I won't tell you that took part during the Christmas days. The days, I think, before Christmas. 707 years ago. And where I'm standing right now, there was a lake. And this lake was called Fir Tree Lake. Fir Tree Lake. There are a lot of fir trees around here still. And the whole landscape, that was a moor landscape. A moor landscape with a flat, very flat lake. And that was the Fir Tree Lake. And in the middle of the lake, there was a castle. But that wasn't a castle like we think of a castle today. So heavy stones and I don't know, huge buildings and so on. I'll show you a reconstruction. So first of all, I'll show you what the landscape looked like. So that's what we're talking about. So you see, that's what it looked like in the old days. That's a reconstruction. And to show you the castle, so like that, it looked like that. So this castle, this belonged to a knight that was known as the Iron Henry. So, but I think you already guess what Iron Henry did for a living. So, well, he liked to do robbery, so for a living. So that's the reason, main reason, why he built this castle here, right in the middle of nowhere. So right in a very flat landscape, hard to come by, hard to attack. Coming here with regular troops to fight someone who's just in the background and just doing robbery on the ways. Yeah. But you know, money has its ways. So, and it was all about money. And so it was about trading. And I don't know, Bremen was always known as a liberal city. but not when it comes to money, of course, or when it comes to trading, or I don't know. So those folks, they didn't have any humor when it comes to that. So, and this Robber Knight, he did a lot of damage, so to all the merchants and so on in Bremen. So, and they didn't really appreciate that. So, so they sent a team, an assault team, an attack team, to get him out of the landscape. So some, I don't know, group of specialists, let's call them, but they brought some heavy stuff here. So nearby, so where I'm standing, there's the lake, and perhaps you see that on this side, they reconstructed where the timberway was. So there was a kind of timberway here, so a very simple, small way over the lake. So, and the restaurant was just mud and moorland, bog. So the Bishop of Bremen, he sent a team. We don't know how many guys, but those were knights and soldiers, experts on stone throwing weapons, so artillery experts, and their mission was to bring him down, to bring the Iron Henry down. And the Iron Henry, well, he's still a legend, he's still known here around, so inhabitants still talking about the Iron Henry. Anyway, so Christmas time, 707 years ago, they built up their engine and they started throwing. So we found out about that just, I don't know, 2 decades ago or something like that. So when there was an archaeological survey, so it was always a legend here, but the archaeological survey, they brought it to the daylight, what really was going on in these old days. So, and they found more than 1,500 heavy stones they were thrown here. And we even think that many of those stones, they went in and out several times. So you can imagine there were several thousand stones thrown in and out. I'm going to show you the rest, so there is not really a rest of the castle, but what they reconstructed so that you might have an idea what the whole scenery inside looked like. So, so they just threw the stones 1 week, approximately 1 week, and yeah, you couldn't really defend the place against this kind of force. 50-kilogram stones coming in a wide angle, just destroying all these. You've seen these houses on the reconstruction, these wooden houses, so they couldn't really stand. Strange thing is, we found a lot of stones in the area where I'm standing, so where the lake was. So brought the question up, so why did they throw in the lake? Well, there's not much sense hitting the lake, or was it just that they couldn't really throw those stones precisely? No, it was not like that. So these old engines, they were pretty precise, really pretty precise. So when I was a student, I did some experiments by myself with a reconstruction. So perhaps, I think I have some old footage. I did some pretty lousy camera stuff in the old days, just to, I don't even know why I did it. So, but this was 8mm film. Yeah, how it was used in the old days was the only thing I had. So I just, I don't know, tried to do some footage, and perhaps I find that and give you some idea what it looked like when I did those research on the engine. So, but thing is, after a while, so I did several tests with the machine. And I found out, well, this is pretty precise, really pretty precise. So the difference between the shots is not more than a meter. So my idea was, well, I was younger then, so my idea was, okay, I want to know what it is to be in the line of fire. So I want to have an, I don't know, I just want to imagine how it is being in the line of fire when the stone comes in direct to you. So I did some shots and I found out, okay, difference just a meter. So I went to the last shot where the impact was, and I just got 2 meters behind that. So I thought, well, pretty safe here. So, and then I gave a signal, fired the engine. And that was 140 meters away, and I saw the stone coming in. So, and although I knew it would be pretty precise, so I'm not really in danger, but there was a second of panic. I admit that. So when the stone came in from 140 meters, there was really a second where I thought, it's gonna hit you, man. So, but there wasn't really time to react, so just smashed in the ground, that's it. So I just wanted to say, those engines were really precise. So why did they hit the lake? So the reason was that the defenders of the castle, oh, there's sun coming up. The defenders of the castle, they didn't want the lake to get frozen, so they want to prevent the assault team from coming in over the sea or over the lake. And that may be the reason. Or, and that's second option, the reason may be that the assault team, that they hit the lake because they were afraid that the robber knights, they may sneak out in the night over the frozen lake. Also possible. And that's what happened. So after 1 week of heavy artillery fire, they just gave up. So they, during the night, they escaped over the frozen lake, and they just went into the open landscape. And imagine that, a winter night, minus, I don't know, 5 or 6 degrees at least if the lake was frozen. And then in the open landscape, in the open moor landscape, the bog, trying to escape. But they didn't make it. Didn't make it. So Henry of Borg, that's his real name, Henry of Borg, the Iron Henry, they caught him in the bog, in the moor landscape, and they just put him in a dungeon. And yeah, several years later, some of his old companions, they tried to organize a rescue party for him, try to break him free from the dungeon. Well, that didn't went very well. So, and 5 years after he got imprisoned, he was set free. That's medieval times. He was set free. He wasn't only set free, they put him in charge as a nobleman again. So he really ruled the whole territory after that. So it was all about money and all about, I don't know, agreements and all those things. It wasn't really hate or something, or ideology or something. It was just about money. So they just wanted to get rid of the robber knight. But his family was still of influence, so couldn't hold him in dungeon forever. So that's my story for today, with a happy end, perhaps. it may fit the end of the year and the Christmas time. Happy end with a Robert 9. There's already a story on the channel about Robert 9s, but that didn't go so well, if I remember correctly. So alright guys, I show you around a little bit and do some footage. And yeah, I don't know, perhaps I put it in the back of the video or whatever. Show you some parts here. But that's mainly it. Hope you all have a great day. Hope you all have great tobacco around, and if not, place an order. There's good stuff out there still, and there's still common new stuff. Wondering about that sometimes, but it is. Alright guys, it's pretty cold here. Gonna keep going. Hope you are alright. Hope you all are well. And perhaps see you again. So, this is the way, the old timber walk here. We found pretty many rests here and remains, and also stones. So, yeah, obviously they tried to kill the way first, to just hit the way out, to prevent them from an escape. So we're now entering the castle. So that was first gate here, or first gate, that was the gate at all. So, and that was a building here, and perhaps you've seen on the reconstruction. On the reconstruction it looks pretty big, but if you're here, it's not really big. Just, I don't know, let's say it's 6 meters, 6 to 5 or something like that. So it's not really huge. So you see the whole castle here. Yeah, or the whole site, just whole facility. It wasn't so huge. What you see here. And for the reconstruction, they had a good idea, so I think. So they did it very natural. What they did is they used all the stones. Those stones, they were thrown by the stone throwing engine, and ecology digged them out. So they just took those stones and reconstructed the sides here. So just that you might have an idea how the dimensions have been in the old days. And you see that perhaps here behind me. So the whole thing, the whole side, it wasn't really large, and they surrounded that with some hedges here. So planted some trees and so on, just to make sure that you know where the limits or where the ground was here. So what was really part of the facility and what was open landscape. You can see that here. A very small building here. And you can easily find out what that was. So take a look. I'll show you the reconstruction again. So where you see on the left side, we came in, we entered, and that was a huge building, And this building we're standing here is, I don't have a third hand, so it's the building on the right. And this is this. Yeah, so, and you see on the other side, there's open landscape. Nice tree. Yeah, if you see this, perhaps you can imagine how it must have been 707 years ago to just to escape over the frozen lake and enter here into the open landscape in a cold winter night. Yeah. Okay, folks, that's it for now. Take care, be well. Perhaps see you again.